Can I ask a quick question? Sorry,
Yeah.
I know I asked a few.
Yeah.
Can science prove God?
Okay, so in my view, science can prove God because there will always be a question. Someone will always be searching for God. If there is a God, it will be found eventually because
It's a metaphysical, so...
if it's metaphysical, then it doesn't matter because we have observed metaphysical states. We do have quite a lot of quantum mechanics now, so we know of metaphysical states here and not here at the same time. We have quantum worlds.
Yeah.
We do understand that there are many more more than we can possibly imagine so far. We already now have discovered things like that.
So you're waiting, am I correct in saying that if there was scientific proof, you would believe in God?
Any atheist who is sensible, that excludes militant ones because I don't know why they do this.
Sure.
So any atheist who is sensible will say the same thing, which is the honest truth, and it should be the case. If a proof existed of a God, there is no question of doubt we would...
What kind of proof you're alluding to?
So proof is quite different.
Because you're saying if a proof existed, meaning there is no proof scientifically. So that's the interesting question to begin with.
Yeah, it's a very interesting question.
Is it a scientific question in the first place?
So for God at the moment, if you consider it in terms of what people are saying at the moment, so if you consider from a militaristic atheist point of view, they are staking a claim that he doesn't exist because there is no claim of God here.
You're missing the whole question. From the scientific method, is the existence of God a scientific question? Can you use the scientific method to answer this question?
So, I don't actually know, to be honest. This is a question that is going to puzzle a lot of people for a long time to come.
Do you know what scientific method is?
Scientific method is a test, repeatable tests, observable, repeatable tests.
So if God is beyond your universe, how can you observe and repeat this observation?
So that's the problem with it. If it's unscientific, it's not considered a science, is it?
This is the problem that is with atheism of any kind, whether it's militant or otherwise. If you have a particular line of inquiry which is limited in its scope,
yes, it is.
How do you then apply that line of inquiry with its limited scope and say, I'm going to apply to answer everything? Can science answer whether you are the most handsome man in the world?
It can if you have the ability to test every human being.
No, you cannot.
It can.
This is not within the scope of science. I mean, I don't think you understand. I don't think you understand what we mean by scientific method.
If you observe and test it and it comes to the same conclusion multiple times. So if I perform an experiment and you think it's wrong and perform an independent experiment away, right, and it concludes that my method is correct, it is accepted.
Is beauty subjective?
Beauty can be subjective, correct, yes.
Are you saying beauty can be objective?
Can be, to some people. It's in the eye of the beholder most of the time.
No, most of the time. When you say sometimes it's not, how can beauty be objective sometimes? Go ahead, explain.
So, for beauty, I think, I think you look good, I think you look bad. It's no offense, it's not true, alright? That's my objective thought from my mind. From scientific point of view.
You see now you're again,
Kale,
you're confusing. You just described subjectivity. You haven't described objectivity.
Objectivity.
So when you say objectively something can be beautiful, go ahead, explain what you mean.
Okay, so defining objective beauty. So you'll have a consensus standard. So you'll have what we would consider a worldwide poll of every single human, and from that we will generate a composite of what humans believe to be the most desirable traits. And then in a scientific method, should all the traits match together, it would be desirably aesthetic to every human being.
And you think beauty can be polled like that, with a poll and saying, you know what, people from Africa with big nose and people from China with no nose, like a shorter nose. And they'll say, you know what, we want someone in the middle, and that's the most beautiful thing, and you will agree? Come on.
It depends.
Beauty is not the realm of science.
It can be if you had the daring.
I'm not sure why you're trying to struggle to get. No.
It's the same. It's scientific method. All scientific method is you say to me, so I say to you, gravity exists because an apple falls. But that's not just gravity. That's why everyone says, "Oh, Newton."
You see, you're confusing the issues. When I brought this issue of altruism or beauty and so on,
altruism, right.
Or morality.
Morality.
Are you saying science can determine what is the best moral thing?
Well, okay. In true terms of scientific method, if you the most moralistic view is not a view most humans would subscribe to.
Listen. Make it as simple. Are you suggesting science can determine what is the best morals?
It has, and we don't like them, so yes.
Not there has or not. Are you saying they can?
Yeah.
So science can determine, through what they determine what's the best moral values or principles?
So it's a testable fact, isn't it? So I hit you, right? And you say to me, I don't like that. Then you go to another person, you hit him, and he goes, I don't like that. And you go to a third person, and you hit him, and he goes, I don't like that. Therefore, you're testing your theory. If I punch you, and you don't like it, you're testing me. The test is complete. You've asked from 3 independent sources the test, and the test has said to you, yes, this is the truth. That's all scientific method
Is stealing good or bad?
So theft, right?
Just one moment.
Go to Mansoor.
You have a railway line,
Yeah.
and there are 5 innocent people. Total innocent, totally good people.
I've done this
right?
before, yeah.
Right? They're tied on this. And you have another line. You are controlling with this shift whether you can go to left or right.
Yes.
And then if it goes to the 5 people line,
Yeah.
then towards the end, that's it, the train stops eventually. On the other side, if you let the train go with no brakes, by the way,
Yeah.
it's gonna kill, say, 500 people.
Yes.
Now, what are you gonna do when you are standing on this, with this lever? Are you gonna let it go on the left and kill 5 people and save 500?
That's not
or
a
are you going
scientific
to,
method, though.
excuse
That's a
me,
humanist thing.
excuse me, my friend, carry
Sorry,
on.
carry on.
Or are you gonna let it go on the right and it goes and kills 500 people? So, using your scientific method,
Yeah.
could you now explain what is the best moral position here?
Okay, so a scientific method is math.
Yeah, do your maths, go on.
So math.
Take your time and do your maths.
Math is easy. Math is simple. 500 versus 5. So 5 is always smaller than 500. So as a scientist would say, right, bang, left, kill the 5, save
So
500.
killing is okay, according to scientific principle.
Of course.
If it serves the
Yes.
better.
It serves the greater
so,
good, yes.
So the killing itself, there's nothing wrong with it.
No,
So according to science, killing is nothing wrong with it.
no. That's why eugenics is
So,
such a horrible
so
subject.
that's why you're saying science can be used to determine our morality.
True evolution, true science, true evolution is survival of the fittest. So
There is no such thing. This is a belief
it's
based
not
on
belief.
nothing.
It's the simplest fact is, if you put 2 crickets in a room, the stronger cricket will always win because its traits inside of itself allow it to get the food first. So the weaker cricket will die out. All you are left
So
with,
who was the fit one to survive?
Huh?
Who was the fit one to survive?
The stronger one.
And who was the
strongest
strong one to survive? The one who is fit.
one. Yeah, the one who's fit. Yeah,
Do you know what tautology is?
yeah,
That's the circular reasoning then.
yeah. It is. It's a totalitarianism mechanism.
No, it's a circular reasoning. You're saying the fit survive, and who are the fit? The ones who survive. And who are the ones who survive? The ones who are fit. He hasn't explained anything.
Okay, I'll change it slightly to make it a little bit more simple. So as wolves are best. Okay, I think wolves are the easiest one to explain. Dogs all came from wolves, right? All dogs are dogs. You can't say this is a Pomeranian. He's not a real dog. This is a husky. They all evolved from the same part. So when we domesticated dogs, we domesticated them for specific purposes. We domesticated hounds to hunt. So the hounds have enhanced senses for hunting. They hunt because they were bred to hunt. So we selected the one who could hunt and said, I want your children. I want this because I know for a fact this dog and its genetic line can hunt. The line that doesn't want to hunt, I kill it away. So we selectively made that dog.
You made the decision, right, with your consciousness and awareness. Nature is not conscious like a cat, as you defined earlier.
Nature is not conscious yet.
So nature cannot determine whether it's going to make this individual weaker or stronger.
No. It is I hate to say luck of the draw, but as far as I'm aware, it is luck of the draw. So with it's the famous is dodos. I love dodos for the fact of this. Dodos are an evolutionary trait of a bird. When they were on the islands, the Galapagos Islands and everything, they did not develop the need to flight. So they sat down. So the English came along and they thought, that's a damn tasty bird. Killed them all. So now there are no more dodos.
Dodos decided not to fly themselves.
No, the evolutionary trait means that they did not need to fly.
When you say you're making evolution, look, this debate is not about evolution is right or wrong or anyone's mechanism. But
Yes, correct,
every
yeah.
atheist that we speak to seems to come to this belief about evolution. It seems like atheism or humanism,
Yeah.
or any of these belief in the absence of God,
Correct.
seems to be based on the belief in evolution for somehow here and there. Look, if you really believe in evolution, that means if I am rich and powerful
Yes.
and I want to get rid of the people that I don't like, it's okay. Survival for the strongest and the fittest.
Unfortunately, in the case of evolutionism, that is correct.
Yeah, and this is what nature is all about then. So scientifically, which evolution is what you believe as a science thing,
Yes, yeah.
then that kind of morality is acceptable.
But this is where we have.
As you said, science can determine morals. So what we see
So
in the
if-
natural world
Yeah.
is that if you're rich and powerful and you can get rid of the whole population, it's calling for prayer, the prayer
okay.
times, right?
Sorry.
You can get rid of a whole population based on their ethnicity, based on their race or gender or color, right? Or their language, then it's okay.
This is a problem with sometimes.
It's not a problem, but it's okay, right? Scientifically, it's okay, you're saying.
Scientifically,
And morally, okay too, because science is based on, can be explained, morals can be explained by
it
science.
can be. So if you
Thank you.
were to have absolute scientific facts, which is why most atheists will always take this line, I think.
Forget about monotheism.
Yeah.
Your position
My
is
position
that
is-
morality can be determined by science. So what we see in the natural world, yes, if you are strong and powerful,
Yes.
and you want to get rid of people who you don't like, for example, there are people who don't like people of something, like as I gave you some examples earlier on.
Yeah.
That's absolutely fine according to the very standards of science. Yeah? Really?
Well, this is unfortunately sometimes you might not like the answer, but if you want to be honest, the answer is yes.
Yeah, but that really shows that this is not the right answer because we haven't found the right answer from these kind of things. Because human beings are not just animals.
Answers change.
They're more than what you consider to be animals.
As we develop, so I'm not very caught
Which
up on
animals have you seen building skyscrapers,
this. That's
flying in the space, going down the oceans in submarines? Which animals have you seen? So why are human beings different than every other animals?
by luck of the draw, unfortunately for us, isn't it?
Luck. So you think everything's by luck?
It's not by luck. It's by. I don't think I can understand it as fully as I want to, because my evolutionary is not my best subject. So forgive me if I'm not perfect. But what was originally believed, the reason why we could develop faster than everyone else was because we discovered fire. So fire enabled us to cook food. So therefore we didn't have to spend so much time chewing, so much like that. So we developed at a faster rate. But there are animals out there that are terrifyingly intelligent. That maybe if we were wiped out tomorrow, there's some random asteroid hit us, right? Would rise up. To
Do you have cats in front of fire? Why don't they develop like we do?
Because we breed the cats.
No.
We have
The
bred
example
them.
you've given is human beings that at one point discovered fire and then they started developing themselves. Now you can get a cat, the same cat in your example,
Yeah.
and it sees fire. Why doesn't it develop skyscrapers?
Because it's developed from us. We have domesticated it for its
Whatever you have domesticated,
capability.
whatever breed of cat you've got,
Yeah.
why isn't the cat making buildings?
Because a cat has been bred to be domesticated. So we have chosen them to be pets. We've chosen the ones that we think are friendly.
Okay,
to
get
us.
a wild cat. Why don't the wild cat make a camera?
We could know. 10,000 years. In
Sorry?
10,000 years, we could.
Get
maybe-
a wild cat in the front of the fire.
What is the difference between human beings and
So we have
animal?
So we have some advantageous traits over other animals. So our traits is mainly opposable thumbs, right? We have in return we have some differences. So how do we say this easily? It's so difficult for me because I don't usually do this part. So this is where
That's why you shouldn't bring evolution in.
I
Because
didn't mean
evolution-
biologically.
yeah
I didn't mean biologically.
yeah.
I mean philosophically.
Philosophically,
Yeah,
right?
philosophically.
So
What is the difference between human beings and animals?
that's for a philosopher to decide, not me.
You know, you believe in logic and
Yes.
You believe in it?
Yes.
Do you mean that animals have?
We have to go and pray, right?
Are you okay?
Okay, we have to go and pray. As you can see, they're joined up already there and starting praying. This is our,
Sorry, that's
sunset, after sunset prayer. We're going to go. No offense, this was a discussion to provoke thinking. Of
course. This is what's most fun, isn't it?
Yeah. So we learn from each other, so that I can learn what you really believe as a humanist. It's not about demeaning someone or putting someone down. It's just an exchange of information where we learn and come to the conclusion about ourselves. Because the point we Muslims are trying to say is to use our intellect that we have to come to the right answers.
What I would say to you is that the conclusion to this is, as a person who can speak to each other, people who can speak to each other, when you speak to each other, your answers come out nicer. So we can have a discussion that can always end in a peaceful, amicable. When you have a different one, so as you saw before, you can't end in a peaceful resolution. Because,
I didn't see that.
Yeah, but that's the whole point I was making to you earlier. So the arguments that you make me think, and when you think, you develop. And this is so. When the next time I see you, I will have researched it, and I can say to you now, I think I can have a position, and then you can say to me your position, and we build from that. So in the future, when we have a society like we have now, which is what you all think, we can live happily. Well, I am happy to say to you, I can say, I lived in Malaysia, a Muslim country, for 3 years as an open atheist. I was treated as the nicest person you could ever imagine. So I have that inherent love for the fact that I can trust people like that. I have a very bad experience with the other side, so I naturally am quite hostile to them. But by building it this way, it's the easiest way to a peaceful society, isn't it? Rather than...
Take care, we will speak again. Yeah? Take care.
Thank you.